Welcome to The Prenup, the wedding-obsessed podcast designed to help you plan your dream day. I'm your host, Adriana, and each week I'm joined by the industry's top professionals, celebs, influencers, and friends who are sharing their best tips, advice, and mistakes they've made so you don't have to. The Prenup is a Love Stories TV podcast.
This episode is brought to you by David's Bridal. The Edit by DB studio was designed with your packed social calendar in mind. Find the trends you're looking for in this wildly affordable collection of wedding, bridesmaid, and occasion dresses, starting as low as $49.95. Join Diamond Loyalty to save 15% on your first purchase. Earn points towards special rewards and more at davidsbridal.com.
With more than 80 years of shooting some of the most high-profile and elite weddings, such as Mary Tyler Moore, Eddie Murphy, and Ivanka Trump, Fred Marcus Studio is a New York wedding staple and continues to be the go-to photographer for the who's who. Today, I'm joined by Brian Marcus, not only the grandson of the man who started it all, but the man who continues the Fred Marcus legacy and reputation of excellence in wedding photography. Brian, welcome.
Thank you for that intro.
Oh, my pleasure. So you and I were talking a bit before, but Alana Dunn, who was a guest on the podcast, you did her wedding as well.
I did. I just watched it again before I got here.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's really smart. She's really just a sweetheart. She has the Seeing Other People podcast.
Which I didn't even know when we booked the wedding with her, and I was just elated to see the stuff all over the place. You know, it's nice. It's nice to see the work in social that way.
Totally,
you know?
totally. Yeah,
really
she's a great, really engaged following, and I was so surprised to learn from you today because Fred Marcus really just has this reputation behind it that you are very much involved in the actual shooting of everything, and you're really in it.
Yeah, I've been working as an assistant and photographer since I'm 11.
Oh my God.
I'm 46 years old now, which is a little crazy, but I'd consider being in this business as a professional for almost 25 years already.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And Fred Marcus has an 80-year legacy.
Yeah, it's actually 81 years.
81?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so unbelievable. So your grandfather started it.
Yeah, my grandfather was a Holocaust survivor, actually.
Oh, gosh. I need a whole podcast episode about that. That is fascinating.
We do a lot of work with Holocaust survivors, actually, but I'll get into that. My grandfather was liberated from a concentration camp in Germany, went to Cuba, photographed some families on the beaches in Cuba, having no pre-education on photography. He had a camera, some clothes, et cetera. His father was in the sporting good business.
Oh my gosh.
And when FDR lifted the ban for the refugees to come from Cuba to North America, to New York, he went to the passport office, and the woman behind the counter was one of the families he photographed. And I'm not saying that was the reason why she stamped the passport, but that helped. And that's why we're sitting here right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he moved up to the upper West Side, which is where our first studio started for 65 years. We were in the same location.
Oh my God.
And slowly but surely built a really nice portrait business into wedding and special events, and slowly, kind of attached more photographers. And then my father got involved, and at a certain point in the 80s, I'm told, I was young, but we were doing close to about 500-600 weddings a year.
Oh my gosh. 600 weddings a year?
Yeah, we had a huge team of photographers. I mean, that was when, my father really took my grandfather was an amazing photographer, but as technology advanced a little bit, and not that much like today, but as it advanced, my father really took it to that next level. Kind of paved the way, I think, for the photographers of today in terms of what to charge for the value of what he brings to the table.
Yes.
And also really pushed the quality of printing and retouching and post-production and even pre-production, as opposed to just being sort of a hired gun showing up the day of the wedding and never seeing the clients again.
Yeah. And I think the reputation that's been built is because of that, the relationship building. You don't spend
everything.
80 years as a standing business without that.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I did not know this was what I was going to be in. I worked pretty hard as a kid in the film and photography world.
Okay.
Lived in LA for a little bit, worked for commercial production companies. I worked on some movies, thought I was going to be a commercial director out in LA. And when I started, I was like, I gotta make some money out here. So I started working for a friend, a photographer in California who did weddings.
Okay.
And about a year in, his clients started to ask for me. And when I kind of realized this, it sort of made sense to come back home and evolve my own business, our family business.
Yeah, it's in your blood, clearly.
Yeah.
So question about just kind of going back in time a little bit. I'm sure you talked with your dad and your grandfather a lot. I'm sure back in the day when your grandfather was shooting these portraits, wedding portraits looked a lot different than they do today. Even the sorcery of a photograph is like, if I start to think about it for too long, I feel like I'm high. I'm like, how are we capturing a moment? This is so strange to me. But, when I see my great-grandparents' wedding photos, even my grandparents' wedding photos, it's like, they had to stand there and like wait a while.
Yeah.
Technology's changed.
The business is night and day from what I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
So keeping up with it has been interesting and fun and exciting as well. But it's a lot different.
Yes. You guys have really evolved with things.
Thank you.
So recently we did an episode where we do movie recaps and reviews on this podcast, and we just did Father of the Bride.
Sure.
The 1990 whatever version, the Steve
Martin
one.
version, yeah.
Yeah. And
is it that long ago?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, it's as old as I am.
I feel like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it still holds
Great
up.
movie.
It's fabulous. Franck. Oh my God, Franck is.
Yeah, he's gold.
Give Steve Martin and Martin Short anything, and they'll just
I agree.
take it away. But we're watching it, and there's also, of course, a 1950s version with Liz Taylor, and there's a new one that came out. But the theme is always kind of the same, and it's like, all right, it's the stress of planning the wedding. It's like, a lot of times dad is stressed about the
build up, the budget.
Yes. And even the struggles of the bride, they seem to kind of stand the test of time.
Yeah.
So do you ever remember your grandfather saying anything about what those stressors were, or...
It's a great question. It's more my father's past that I remember, but I was very close with my grandfather.
Sure.
The stresses, I think, have been consistent, like you said. It's its own culture being a bride.
Yes.
What's interesting is that given our experience of doing a lot of weddings for a lot of years, we realize that we honestly treat every wedding on its own. Like it's unique. It could be for 8 people. It can be for 800 people.
Yeah.
And our company really understands that it's kind of, in my opinion, more about the experience. The photos, thank God, I think I'm extremely confident that everybody's going to love the pictures. But it's the process too, and leading into it, and how you kind of guide them through it, and do little things, almost like we're event planners as well.
Yeah.
But we kind of lay out the structure of the day and help them choose people and refer people if they're interested. And then after the wedding, guiding them through, helping them choose the photos and make beautiful albums and prints and frames and all that stuff. And we work with all the family members too. So to answer the question, it's incredible what some brides bring us to, and the stories that my walls in that office, it's almost like I should sign an NDA every time a client comes in. They divulge incredible amounts of personal information.
Well, they probably treat you somewhat like a therapist.
That's the thing, is that we're with, wedding photographers, as you all know, we are with the couple intimately. Especially on the day of. And people don't really realize that until you kind of tell them.
Yes.
But the first, 4, 5, 6 hours of the day, if you're not connected with the person taking your pictures, or at least, inspired by them, or if you don't like them,
yes,
you don't feel good around them, if there's not a vibe, forget about the photos themselves. It changes. I'm not saying it ruins the day, but it changes the day.
It's interesting that you say that, Brian, because we talk about that here a lot, vibing with your vendors. You can't just look at someone's catalog and say like, oh, this is great. You actually have to have a conversation with them, because if you hate them before, photographer is the big thing. Wedding planners too, and not all of our listeners have wedding planners.
No,
but And I always say, for those who don't have wedding planners, like, your photographer is a really great resource because they've seen it all, they've done it all, and they're with everyone all day.
That's exactly right.
But yeah, some of the things you've seen, anything like totally insane without getting in trouble that you could share?
I mean, people ask. I mean, my friends ask me that every day. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen at a wedding? I mean, we're privy to some pretty private and incredible events.
I'm sure.
I feel like a lot of our time is spent almost as therapists, just maintaining, normality throughout this whole thing, and realizing like this is really such an important, beautiful day in your life, and really try to enjoy it the most. We try not to get swept up in the drama of it. And for us, we definitely do these large weddings where 100 people show up for photos with 30 minutes before the ceremony, and navigating that and really without being rude. Very much being efficient and not loud, but in control.
Sure.
Allows us to produce what we need in the end, so that we know they're happy. And that's the thing in our business. I don't care if there's 10 minutes and 300 people for pictures.
Yeah.
If you don't get what the client expects, unfortunately, it's a problem. I mean, you definitely can show them video footage as proof as what was going on beforehand.
Yes.
But it's we try to power through it no matter what, and make sure that like we get it. We get exactly what they want, before the end of the event, for sure.
So, question for you, Brian. In preparation for things like these enormous family photos and getting these portraits in a limited amount of time beforehand. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that prep work for photographers. So what are you asking? What are you trying to get out of your clients before the wedding so that you can just go do your job and take fabulous photos?
Yeah. So what are my tips?
Yes.
So big tips to brides and photographers, obviously, are obviously meet with your photographer as many times as possible before the wedding. And I was going to add on to something you said before about the change of the times.
Oh, yes.
Since COVID, I mean, I used to meet with clients literally from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 3 to 4 days a week, every week. I think I meet with clients in person now once a week. The change since COVID has been incredible. Luckily, we still are doing the same amount of events, but it's the Zoom thing and the phone calls. And so my first tip is to try to at least Zoom live with your photographer or with us. And if you can meet in person and see the operation that they have, hopefully it's something, you kind of get a better sense of who you're investing in. So, for me, I find it hard to believe sometimes that clients with budgets are investing in, one individual person. That doesn't mean that they're not spectacular and talented and amazing. But if, God forbid, something happens to that person, and usually it won't, but there's a low % chance of that.
Yes.
But if something does on the wedding day, you kind of got a problem.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to hire somebody who does work for themselves and only for themselves, I just think it's important to really understand who they're bringing, a little bit more about their team. God forbid something does happen unfortunate. What is the case?
This is reminding me of, we do, and we'll do it later in the episode, but we do a premarital counseling session. Listeners write in questions, and this is like
a big question.
Yeah, this is specific to today's, and we'll get to it later, but I'm curious to hear your input.
It's surprising how few people actually ask that question.
Yeah.
And it's also surprising when you tell them, because I divulge that information right away.
Sure.
The reaction is surprising because it's always like, oh my God, you're right. I didn't think about that.
Never thought of that.
So that is definitely something. After a client books us for a wedding, we send them some homework.
Okay.
We got a few sheets to fill out.
What's in the workbook? What are we filling out?
It's more listen, when we show up at a wedding, we definitely do our thing.
Sure.
In terms of creativity, in terms of responsibility, efficiency, making sure I don't really need, I think a lot of event planners love working with us because they can sort of concentrate on what they need to concentrate on.
Yes.
And the professionals come in and guide the families for the first 2-3 hours, and they're not dealing with questions and all that stuff. So
For sure.
even from putting on the boutonnieres to getting the flowers and making sure everything is done properly, when we get there, that happens. But before, knowing the specifics, any special requests, knowing everybody's names so that you can make it super personal. We have all that. We do all that. We help make a shot list. So a lot of brides might put together an Excel spreadsheet 4 pages long of the pictures that they hope to get.
Yes.
And we have to kind of be honest with them and say, listen, if we're going to do this amount of requests, we probably need another shooter or maybe even 2 shooters to do it. We still do. People laugh at it, but our clients still ask, not all, but some, to do all the table photographs at a wedding with 1,000 people.
Oh, isn't that funny?
It's 100 tables. And so
it's such an old school thing.
It is an old school thing, but you know what? It is the only way to actually see an image of everybody that was invited.
That's true.
I hope that they use it for an album if I do 100 table shots, because I know some people might consider it a waste of time, but that's what we do for our clients. I mean, I don't really, unfortunately, say no ever. I mean, we are. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to put your foot down, but it is rare that we say no. And so whatever requests, it's their day. You know, whatever.
It's how can we make this happen?
Yeah, and we have our own style, but that style is able to be adjusted based on the client's needs and wants. And if I have a client who used us 30 years ago and they love that formal style of photography, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
I would say, typically it's a balance of really beautifully of everything.
Yes.
But the details leading into the wedding are crucial.
Yeah.
Setting aside enough time, explaining why you need that time. Some people might say, or couples will be like, that's crazy. We need 2-3 hours for pictures. And I say, let me ask you a question. What if let's just say your hair, it's not great and you don't love it? I mean, how long is that going to take? She's like, well, probably 20-30 minutes. I go, well, now we have an hour and a half. Oh yeah, right. So it's like all those like obvious sort of simple things when structuring the day should be you got to consider leaving just a little bit more time than you think you need,
Totally.
just to make it easy. I always say if you have 25 minutes before the ceremony to relax,
Yes.
you're probably going to value that. So stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and it's not going to feel like that either. It's not going to feel like 25 minutes.
No, it's a breath.
And it's really nice that you have so much know-how from having doing those for a million years, that you can not to age you, no, not a million years, but a very long time. And you have kind of seen it all, and it is something that even seasoned photographers who've been doing it for a while might say like, all right, yeah, we're just going to go into this, into this, into this. But building more time into that timeline, I think, is really, really underrated.
Absolutely. I don't know how, we used to do weddings and the contracts were for 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden overnight changed to 10 to 12 hours.
So what is the ideal for a traditional American wedding, one-day event?
I break it down really simply. First, the question is the couple seeing each other for photos before the ceremony? That's like the number one question.
And most of your couples probably do first look now.
And I recommend doing it because it has nothing to do with the photographers.
Sure.
It's more the ability to enjoy. You walk down that aisle, you grab a glass of champagne,
of course,
and enjoy your cocktail hour, enjoy the wedding, and all of these things that you've spent so much money and time preparing. I hate when the brides are like, we didn't eat anything. We didn't see the dessert.
Yes.
We don't have a clue what went on in that room. I'm so happy you were there and captured it. I'm like, well, that's silly.
Right.
So we set aside about an hour and a half, I think, for getting ready. And what I think is important about that period of time is that when a photographer shows up to the event, I always recommend that the hair and makeup be sort of finished.
Yeah.
Now, there is something to be said about, waking the bride up in her bed and photographing her from the time she gets in the
not professional photos, maybe something not as high quality.
I agree. Well, some people want it, and that's okay.
They probably have perfect skin, those people.
Yeah, probably. But no retouching needed.
Exactly.
But what I would say is to save a little bit of money, maybe if somebody charges by the hour, I don't really think in the end, when you look at these hundreds or thousands of photos after the wedding, that the photos with the curlers in the hair and the photos without makeup are necessarily going to be used or important photos that people will necessarily look back on. That doesn't mean that we don't do it a lot.
Sure.
It's just, if you could save some time up front, I'd rather the photographers stay to the end of the party as opposed to getting there before anything is really happening.
Yes.
So we come in about an hour and a half. We do really beautiful details, flat lays with the invitation and just the the shoes and the jewelry, et cetera. We really do beautiful work with those details.
Yeah.
And then the bride is basically camera ready when we get there, which is really nice.
Yeah.
We'll do makeup and hair photos and stuff. We'll kind of sometimes fake it a little bit.
Of course.
But in the end, it's that one or two images that are just perfect that get used.
Right.
Groups with friends, bridal party, always being like dressed, sort of in a cute way and being done for pictures is great. That's about an hour and a half. Once the first look happens, I'd say it's about another hour, let's say on average about an hour with the couple.
Yeah.
And then an hour with the immediate family, an hour with the extended family and bridal party. So the whole thing, I would say on average is about 4 to 5 hours.
Okay, that seems very reasonable.
I think so.
So we're just talking about parts of the day and what we're photographing and whatnot. There's a question that I just thought of, and it's something that I always am wondering, but I never ask photographers. When it comes to actually being on the dance floor and like capturing these special moments of people enjoying themselves, how do you and your fellow shooters kind of hone in on that and catch the fun?
It's a great question. You got to feel it.
Yeah.
There's a rhythm. That's why I love the music and the band. I myself play a few. I just love music so much that the music feeds sort of the rhythm and the vibe of for us as well.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this long enough, and my photographers are experienced enough to the songs that you're going to get great photos from.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Any of these songs at the end of the night, I know it's that sort
like
of cheesy.
Last Dance,
Living on a Prayer,
yeah.
Last Dance, Sweet Caroline.
Yes.
The one that is the best is that Killers song. That's the one.
Yeah. Mr. Brightside.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Trust
People
me.
go nuts for Mr. Brightside.
I think if there was a top 10, best songs played at a wedding, I'm pretty sure, surprisingly, that would be like top 3.
Yeah.
That's the one where people really go bananas.
Yeah.
It's a vibe. You have to have instinct. I try to focus on where the bride and groom are, where the key players are, the parents. I always have eyes and ears on sort of what is happening across the dance floor, not just focusing necessarily on exactly what's in front of me. We vibe the music. I'm one of those photographers that, like, during Mr. Brightside, if you have 70, kids jumping up and down, going bananas, and the band is involved. If you ask any band leader from the last 20 years in New York, if what I do, and it's not obtrusive, it's just picking the right moment, I will either motion to whomever is the band leader, and they got to be great and fun, or I'll do it myself, where there is a moment where you get the bride and groom up on stage. Then there's a moment where I'll go up on stage and actually, like, they won't even be thinking it, and I'll actually get the guys to come close and throw the groom off the stage and do those lifting shots and all that. Now, these days, people see that more, and it happens organically.
Yes.
But if it isn't happening, I don't know, like, it's part of what we do. We kind of get involved a little bit in that way.
Yeah, that's a fun behind the scenes thing. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, I don't think it's so fun to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And there are so many moments that we actually very delicately and subtly make happen that nobody really even appreciates or realizes.
Sure.
But in the end, those are sort of the moments that they'll remember, especially in the pictures and the video. I love the question. I mean, there's different ways. Lighting creates different moods.
Yeah.
I use sort of flash for certain photography for certain things, and available light for certain things, and LED technology for certain things. It all creates a little bit of a different mood. We do, we drag shutters where you've seen those great photos where the lights are sort of moving and blurry in the background. That sort of comes out at the end of the party and into the after party when the vibe gets a little bit different and everybody's had a couple cocktails. So the scope of the work, the visual from the first picture to the last picture for for our studio, it tells, not only obviously tells a story, but as you're looking through these albums and the galleries, you really almost hear the wedding and hear and feel the music and the ceremony.
It's telling a story.
It's telling a story that's very tangible.
Yes.
So by making the choices we make on where to be, who to watch, what angles to shoot at, but also the type of lighting and lenses that we use, for professionals, they'll know that those choices tell the story.
Yes.
You use I don't use one, but a lot of people use zoom lenses for certain things. I use sort of prime lenses, which are just the same distance. So it's like a 35 millimeter lens as opposed to a 18 to 35 zoom lens.
Okay.
Constantly changing lenses for a different perspective. And when that only is told when you see the photos, you're like, that's the difference between a regular photo and a great photo is when, in my opinion, the photographer, obviously in the right place, right time, but is using the proper tools to create that feeling from the photo as well.
Yes.
So it's fun. It's every way. People are like, aren't you tired of doing so many weddings for so many years? And I have to say, the minute we walk in, the minute I walk in, it's fun. It's exciting, and people look to us to be a real guiding force, especially the first 5-6 hours. And so when people look for us to direct and produce these moments and really guide the families, that's what we take it seriously.
Yes.
And we try to be the people that at the end of the wedding, you're like, what would it have done if we weren't there?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure you
know what I mean?
get such sweet notes and
Got one
thank yous from
yesterday.
people. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we get them all the time.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And when you have that level of care and attention, it does make the day. That's why, to your earlier point, it's just so important to know and trust your vendors and like them.
David's Bridal knows how important it is to find the perfect dress for any occasion. Whether you're a bride, bridesmaid, or wedding guest, they have you covered. With The Edit by DB Studio, find the trends you're looking for in this wildly affordable collection of wedding, bridesmaid, and occasion dresses. These dresses were designed with your packed social calendar in mind, with styles starting as low as $49.95. With a wide range of beautiful dresses at affordable prices, you don't have to break the bank to look perfect on your big day or any day. Come see the magic in person. Find your dream dress with the help of our expert stylists and experience David's commitment to making everyone feel special no matter their budget. Book an appointment and join Diamond Loyalty to save 15% on your first purchase. Earn points towards special rewards and more at davidsbridal.com.
It's interesting, the difference between then and now, where I find that the younger clientele that come in don't necessarily think about, and thanks for you getting up here and kind of explaining it, but it's interesting how things are working these days with Instagram and them. Like you said before, a potential bride sees one image, one, and I want that. I want that.
They just want to recreate it.
And it's interesting how social media and Instagram have distracted some clients or potential clients on thinking they want something that eventually they don't get.
Right.
And so, not going south here or being negative, there's so many talented photographers in the country.
Yes.
You see them all the time. You meet with them. But it's important, like we said, to just get to know them, get the vibe, and also know that the experience will be at a really top level. I think it's worth paying a little bit more for not only a great photographer, but for how they handle you guys, whether it be before the engagement shoot, all of the information that they collect. Can you get people on the phone every day? What happens after you get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 photos? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is amazing. I have a hard drive full of photos that I love, and I can't get in touch with the photographer, nor do they want to do anything with the pictures. They've given them to me, and now I can go and do my own stuff. We're sort of the opposite, where it's sort of like a full service operation, where we're sort of like a pseudo party planner. We help the party planners, the event planners, and guide and help them get the information that they need to make the day super smooth. I meet with clients all the time with their event planners as a team to ensure that like everyone's on the same page.
Yes.
The schedule makes sense, and planners really do come to us and ask us, listen, do you need 3.5 hours? Do you need 4 hours? Do you need 5? And I appreciate that a lot, as opposed to just kind of showing up in a stressful situation.
Totally. And I think what couples should know is that your vendor team, if you don't have a planner, you should really be the person introducing them. And if you do have a planner, your planner should be rallying everyone, getting them on at least an email, introducing each other to everybody if they don't know each other, just so everyone's working cohesively. Like, I'm sure you've experienced it before, and it's few and far between. It's not often, but there are some vendors who can be maybe a little bit competitive, and they want to be the favorite child, and they don't want to play nice.
Everyone needs to respect the timeline.
We're all going toward a common goal.
That's the key, though.
Yeah.
The only time there's an issue is when somebody doesn't respect the other schedules of the other time, especially the photographer. So I don't have these issues often, but sometimes it happens where makeup and hair has to understand that 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late is okay.
Yeah.
30 minutes late is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So preparing, setting yourself up for having those vendors having the it's okay to tell the bride, I need to start at 6 a.m. if that's what you need to do.
Right.
That is the only issue, is not respecting the timeline.
Yeah.
Which inevitably stresses everybody out, and the bride is I'm the one that gets the phone call afterwards. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So the hair looks great in the pictures, but it's like, where are those 3 pictures we asked for? And I'm like, we started again. To all your viewers, this doesn't typically happen.
No, of course.
But it can happen where you have a list of 100 photos, and instead of starting at 2:00 because of the hair and makeup or something happens, doesn't like the dress or the shoe doesn't fit, whatever it may be, it's not physically possible to do every one of those 100 pictures. And so that's why we said before, leave enough time.
Sure.
You don't have to go overboard. You don't have to, start taking pictures 7 hours before the ceremony.
Yes.
But depending on the experience of the photographer, they have to be able to deal with all those things.
Yes.
And to set yourself up for success in those situations is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So everyone should be sort of hopefully in the same boat with that, even the event planner. And, some people say you can't start that early.
Yeah.
Some people say, I'm like, why are we, you're starting 7 hours before the ceremony. Sometimes it's ridiculous how early it is. Finding that happy medium that works for the client and the event planner as well. You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Makes total sense.
Making sure everybody's got enough time to do what they want to do for these people and make them happy.
Absolutely.
Especially with their requests.
We're all here to do a job and
together.
Get to.
I agree.
Totally. Same team. I have to ask, because we are such a pop culture loving podcast here. We love, all the Vogue features and everything. We love celebrity content here. So you guys have done like a million celebrity weddings. I'm sure some that you can't talk about, which I would never ask you to talk about. But of the ones that you can, are there any that stick out to you as a real favorite?
I'm a huge basketball fan.
Okay.
Huge. And so I did.
Who's your team?
The Knicks.
Okay.
Are always my team.
Okay.
And I did have the opportunity and honor to do LeBron James's wedding.
You did not.
Which was a seriously cool weekend.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
What?
So we were without getting into it really, it was in San Diego. But for me, and I'm still friendly with Savannah and LeBron, and I've been to their home and done family pictures for them for years. And I see them actually, a lot of our clients are friendly with them. So I see them, I'd say probably once every year. But we're still in touch. And for me to see the players and the coaches that I sort of grew up with, as a Knicks fan, Pat Riley was a legendary coach of the Knicks and a Lakers player and Lakers coach, and now the Lakers GM. I'm sorry, not the Lakers GM, was the Lakers GM. And then now he's the Heat GM, the Miami Heat GM.
Okay.
and he's a legend. And just being around, sharing a drink, late at night with him and Charles Oakley, who you probably don't know, who's a legendary Knick that I grew up with.
My husband's gonna kill me.
All of the players, all of the coaches. For me, they were the nicest couple ever. Aww. They are the sweetest people. A lot of people, because they're in the limelight so much, give him a hard time. But he is A1A in all ways, really. So it was a special, special weekend. Actually, Marcy Blum was the event planner that weekend.
Oh my God, such a fan. Love Marcy Blum.
I actually had a mutual friend of LeBron's who was a client of mine still, and he introduced us, and it was easy. Savannah came into the office, we sat down, and she looked at everything, and we really clicked, and that was it.
How fabulous is that?
It was amazing.
That's incredible. So that's your world. My world is like, we love an influencer here, and you and I chatted about it before, but Ariel Charnas is a friend of yours.
If you're seeing this. Ariel is a good friend, know her for a long, long time, and we've been lucky enough not only to do their wedding, but I've had an amazing experience doing all of their family photos for the last, 5-6 years now. And that family photo thing for me is really special. It's people say, do you just do weddings? Not at all. We do really everything. But the family pictures, and starting with families at a young age, and their kids are young, and seeing them grow up, and we're a 3-generation business. So I'm doing now the 4th generation of clientele. So this past Thursday, I did a bridal shower, really, really elaborate, beautiful bridal shower for a dear friend and client who's getting married, and I did her bat mitzvah. My father did her parents' wedding. Oh. My grandfather did the grandparents' wedding.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
It's not every weekend, but it's special. It's eye-opening, and it's scary that we're all getting older so quickly.
But you're a part of the family, and maybe your kids will do, their...
We'll see. My son's name is Freddie, and he could be the 4th generation. But I will tell you, my grandfather, my father, nobody ever pushed me to do this.
Yeah.
Ever.
No pressure, little Freddie.
No pressure. Honestly, it's a tough business. It's a tough job.
And you have to love it.
You have to love it.
You work while everyone else plays.
We miss a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's the wedding industry.
Growing up as an athlete, it was tough to not see my dad at the games on Saturdays and stuff. But, it's a way of life. Everybody's got their thing. Mm-hmm. We absolutely love, honestly, we still love and absolutely love what we do. And like I said, it might be hard to leave the kids in the morning, but the day, the minute I show up and see you at your wedding, it goes away. And I feel like that's really, what I should be doing, my purpose, and we really bring. I always say this to our clients. If you're looking for people, professionals, to really bring additional value to the day and to the experience and to the evening, in terms of a vibe or in terms of experience, and if you have the right people there, and it pays off. It's more memorable because of the right people you have to work together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It makes the biggest difference.
I agree.
Okay, so we have a few more minutes. I want to do something. We touched on it earlier, but every episode we do something called premarital counseling. This is our advice segment. Listeners write in. We always keep it anonymous. So if you have a question, a query, you want some advice on something.
It's smart.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. And, we try to help people out. Usually my guests give a lot better advice than I do. I'm usually like, throw hands, let's get them. But no, we are not going to do that. We're going to give some advice to this 2025 bride. This is an October 2025 bride. And if anyone wants to write in, they can always email Adriana at the-pre-nopta.com or podcasts@lovestoriestv.com. All right, Brian, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Juicy?
It looks like a long one.
This is pretty long. Okay. SOS, our photographer told us this week that he has double booked our October 2025 wedding. So by the time this airs, we'll be in March or April. And since the other couple booked him first, he will not be able to accommodate shooting our wedding. I feel sick to my stomach. Ugh. We spent hours trying to find a photographer in our budget that checked all of our boxes. Our original photographer sent a backup option with a photographer that has confirmed he's available for our wedding date, but we aren't crazy about his style. I'm worried that we will have a hard time finding someone on such short notice on a Saturday in October that meets our criteria. We have sent out some inquiries, but no one has confirmed availability for our date. I'm so disappointed and now scared that this will happen with other vendors. What should I do about my photographer, and how can I calm my anxiety from a majorly stressed October 2025 bride?
She should just call me.
Hello. We got something great.
But yes, if you're listening, give us a call. I will try to help you as best I can. That's number one. And we do have a pretty deep bench of amazing photographers. So if you're interested and you still need help, give us a call.
Yes,
you'll give
I'm going to forward.
Yeah, you'll give us
yes.
the website, whatever. That's a really unsettling situation. I mean, it happens as we talked about. I don't know if what we talked about before is going to air, but it's a perfect example of what we were saying. Things happen.
Yes.
I think you have enough time, so take a deep breath.
Yeah.
I think calling studios that have, in my opinion, that have been in business for a while is probably a good idea to at least get some ideas or motivation, or a photographer that is on a team of. I think by calling a studio that has been in this business for a while, they can give you, in my opinion, a little bit more experience information to figure out what you're going to do. But I would call local, if it's an emergency, I mean, I would call local planners that maybe friends have used, or hotels that you respect have possibly recommended to you, and you'll find there's enough. Fortunately and unfortunately, there's plenty of photographers out there.
Yes.
But to find the right person, I would go directly to friends referrals. Call as many as possible. See who's free. You call a studio like ours. We'll help you and walk you through it. See what your budget is, and if it's not right for us, or we're not right for you, the budget is a number that we can't kind of meet. We can recommend other people. But I think calling people with experience is probably the move, as opposed to listening to one friend or two friends. I think look out there for the photography studios who've been in business for a long time.
Yes.
Give them a call and see what they say.
Yes,
and call me if you need any help. Let me know.
Call Brian, because I mean
we're happy to help you.
They are.
I really hate hearing stories like that.
It's so sad, and it's something that I think happens a lot more. You're right, when photographers, or maybe they work alone, or maybe they have a second shooter they work with sometimes, but
shit happens. Life happens.
For sure. Of course, like an emergency could happen the day before, and that
I have had it.
wouldn't be available.
I remember in my career, I've been doing this, let's say 20 round numbers, 25 years.
Yeah.
It happened to me once.
Okay.
And once in 25 years, I think is pretty good.
It's pretty damn good, yeah.
But without getting into it, I got sick. I was in the hospital.
Oh.
And I remember it was like the night before the wedding. And I remember throwing the kitchen sink at it. So, I mean, money is not, profiting on an event when that happens is not even in the brain. And so I ended up having, I believe they hired 2 photographers. I was one of them. So it was me and one of my top photographers and an assistant, which is a typical team.
Sure.
And I ended up sending my whole staff. So they got about 5 photographers, including and I just basically did whatever I could to make sure that it was done beautifully and properly. And it's funny, tipping is not something that I even think about.
Sure.
If a client gets a tip, it's always appreciated, but it is, definitely not something that we look for or need.
Of course.
Always lovely, but not necessary for us. Not expected, I should say.
Absolutely.
And they got the largest tip I've ever heard of in this business that evening.
Wow.
So they called me up afterwards, and they were just like ecstatic. They gave him an envelope. I won't say the number, but it was in the thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean,
I'll never forget that story.
But that is when you have amazing photographers who work for you, and you have your knowledge and experience in the industry, and like that's above and beyond. That's what you want from anyone you're working with. To go above and beyond, and if there's a wrong, which it wasn't even a wrong, it's like it's a circumstance, it's life, as you said, and things happen, but they just you make it work. How can we make it work?
We're lucky to have that size team.
Yes.
And so for photographers who are just starting out, or photographers who are sort of on their own, it probably would be a great idea to have a relationship with, even me is a decent idea, but to hook up with other photographers who have these things just in case. It's just, hey, I'm in the same business. I know this is strange. Here's my number. God forbid anything happens. Like, I would love to make sure, to have you on the line to give me any advice, or maybe we can have one of your photographers to cover me, or whatever it may be. I think this photographer giving this young lady an option that she's never heard of doesn't really help her case. So I'm hoping that he or she gives the deposit back.
Sure.
And tries to help her find the best person possible for her and for her wedding. It shouldn't be taken lightly. That's something that you got to help her recover from for sure.
Absolutely.
That's the right thing to do.
It's definitely the right thing to do. And if for some reason, you're SOL, reach out to Brian.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
I can refer, I can recommend, and we have a wonderful team. So if you're in a bind, we are happy to help.
Oh my God. Well, you were the right person for this one today. Okay, Brian, we have one more thing for you that we do every episode. It's our after party, just some fun wedding questions.
Please.
First one is, what is your honeymoon hotspot?
Honeymoon hotspot. I am a huge fan of the Amalfi Coast in Italy. My wife and I have been there a few times. Okay. I've been there for events many times, and it's just a special place for so many, for me and for most people who've been there. There is a hotel in Amalfi. I actually just went to dinner with the GM who I've become friendly with. It's called Borgo Santa Andrea. I'll give you the link.
Okay.
And for a honeymoon spot, if you're thinking about going to the Amalfi Coast, it is incredible. The hotel is the only hotel in Amalfi with its own beach club, private beach club. The hotel is set into the side of a mountain. The food and the service is on a different planet. And I'll hook you up with the guy's name is Tano. He's like one of my friends now, and you should call him, and he will take care of you in such an amazing way. That is a no-brainer if you're thinking about Italy. I mean, I don't know. I was just in this place called Jumbi Bay in Antigua for an event. That is a really special place and easy to get to. So look at that as well. It's a private island, and none of these places are inexpensive, but it's a honeymoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love south of France, south of Italy, the coast, and the Caribbean. I would say Antigua. We were just in Anguilla actually as well, which is really, really beautiful. The Cap Juluca or the Four Seasons. Actually did Neil Diamond's son's wedding in Cap Juluca a while ago. But yeah, those, I mean, I have a lot. I mean, there's so many wonderful spots.
No, I love these specifics.
If you're going to Italy, look at this Borgo Sant'Andrea. We'll give you the link. It's next level stuff. And tell them I sent you.
Okay, absolutely. Fabulous. Thank you. Okay. What song will get you on the dance floor at a wedding?
What we said before.
Mr. Brightside?
Mr. Brightside is sort of the standout. I don't know why. It stood the test of time.
Totally.
I like that song.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Gets me going too.
I know. Surprisingly, that's the one that stood the test of time. Like
I've
back in
actually
my
been
emo days.
tossed in the air like the groom with my camera a few times on that song.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
I need footage of this.
We get involved.
You have to. Okay, what hors d'oeuvre will you never pass up?
Hors d'oeuvre? Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't eat at these things. That's how I stay skinny. I really don't. Hors d'oeuvres. I don't know. I don't eat them anymore, but the Peking duck is always calling my name.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those duck wraps.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be mine.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Caviar. I mean, if caviar exists, I'm in.
If caviar is available.
Yeah. I don't care the quality. Just give it to me. I'm serious. Yeah. Caviar or Peking duck done the right way.
Love it.
Those two jams I'm in for no matter what. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. What is your signature cocktail or mocktail?
Oof, my signature cocktail. You'll have to edit this. I have to think for a second. What is my signature cocktail? I drink everything.
A little bit, maybe a Long Island iced tea.
No, my signature cocktail is like these days is on the spicy side of things. So like I don't really love a normal spicy margarita, but like a turn on the spicy margarita, like a
smoky
blood
mezcal.
or like a watermelon smoky mezcal spicy margarita, a touch of the sweetness and the fruit, not one of these like beach drinks.
Yes,
but yeah, like an alternative to the spicy marg is if it's a good one is fantastic.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it. Okay.
Yeah.
If you could invite any living dream guest to your wedding, I know you've been married for 11 years, but who would you invite?
Like I said before, I think having a music artist at the event is like next level stuff. And I've seen everything from the full Bon Jovi band to John Legend to we just did a party with a wedding with Chicago, but like the
Stop.
the band.
Oh my God, I would die.
Rappers, I can't even think. I mean, Neo singing the ceremony. Oh, we did Diana Ross and Usher at a wedding.
I would simply pass away.
So for me, it would be a music artist, and my wife is going to die laughing, but I'm a jam band guy.
Okay.
Nobody would probably realize that if they don't know me, and I'm like a huge Grateful Dead Fish guy.
You're Deadhead.
Fish. You know the band Fish?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I don't partake in the fishery, but...
I understand. You should. I'll invite you to the next one. It'll change your mind. If you like to dance and have a good time. People think it's all about what you ingest. It has nothing to do with that.
No. It's like a light show, right?
It's
what am
just
I thinking
an
of?
Incredible... Like Pink Floyd or something
Maybe.
like that?
Yeah,
I mean, no. When you say light show, the lighting is the next level.
Yeah.
And I know the lighting guy's name. That's how great he is. He's an artist. But I'm saying Fish fans know that he's like the sixth member of the fifth member of the band.
Okay.
But
Fish fans are probably throwing
joyous,
things.
just super joyous, casual band that just exudes positivity, and if you like to dance and really enjoy yourself, this is I recommend a Fish show. Anyway, what I would probably want a Bruce Springsteen, or a Fish, or I mean, I guess Fish isn't the best for the guests, but
it's cool.
Somebody legendary, like a Bruce Springsteen coming to playing 30 minutes at our wedding.
Fabulous.
We've done stuff with comedians and all that stuff. But yeah, for me, it would be a musician and a set. Let's go with Bruce.
Okay, let's go Bruce. Let's go Big
Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. And then last question I have for you, Brian, is what is one practical piece of advice that you could give to any couple planning their wedding?
One practical piece of advice that I would give is obviously maintain that budget, but really think forward, in that you can get swept up in the moment and spend money on things that, it's not my opinion, to you guys might make a lot of sense in the moment, just to be a little different and to add some investment to certain things that you think will stay in people's memories. I won't get into the specifics, but people spend a lot on sillier things that maybe you don't necessarily need.
Sure.
So the advice would be, think of yourself 4 years, 8 years, 12 years down the road. What are the things that are most important to you? And invest the most in those. For me, it would be, if I was doing my wedding over again, it's the band, the music, the food. The venue obviously is important, but the music and food are inside that venue.
Yes.
I think are as important, if not more. And selfishly, obviously, the documentation of the event. We do video, we do photography, and everything else. And I don't know. One quick story. I was talking to the guys. They're from California. A lot of my couples whose wedding we've done in New York have moved since to the Palisades.
Oh, interesting.
And after this all happened, I got about 4 phone calls that the albums were gone.
Oh.
And we were in the process actually of remaking them for them. But the point is that, and I know it sounds cheesy and sappy, but most people that you speak to, everybody at this table is going to probably agree, the photographs are sort of like all you have left.
Yep.
And the memories, but they kind of go hand in hand. And people say, should I do video? Should I not do video? And we do all our own video as well.
Do it.
The do it part is, I always say, you can't really hear the photos. You can feel them.
Yeah.
You should feel them.
Yes.
When you look through your album, it should feel like you're there.
Of course.
But if you're interested in maybe one day showing your kids, God willing, the ceremony or hearing the speeches and reliving it that way, I don't care how creative or artistic it may be, just having the footage to revert back to and to watch at the right times in your life, to me is what's so special about kind of what we do, what I do and what we do, preserving those memories. And, we've been doing it quite a long time. So people call in, believe it or not, from 30, 40, 50 years ago for their negatives,
my gosh.
which we still have. So you'll have to come to the studio and look at sort of the archives of all this stuff.
I would love it.
So yeah, that's what I would focus on, is really just putting your money into things investing into things and people that will give you the return on the investment that you hope for. That's sort of the most important tip I could give.
Really, really good advice. Brian, this was so wonderful. Where can
done?
everyone? I can't.
I have some. No, let's go more.
We need a part
Okay.
2. We need a part 2. We have to have you back. This was
is good.
so informative, and I really could talk to you all day. Where can everyone find you and Fred Marcus Studio and all the things?
Yeah, our website is fredmarcus.com. We're at Fred Marcus Studio on Instagram. My Instagram is at Bry Marcus, if you want to see some personal work. And we're in New York City. And what else? Did you want a phone number? No.
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
you'll go to the website.
Yeah, we'll put it
email
on the
me.
show notes,
Believe it or not,
too.
I get all the emails from the website. And for that young lady, please reach out. We're happy to help you.
Yes.
Hate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. I really
Thank you
appreciate
for coming.
it. Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
My pleasure.
Thanks for tuning into The Prenup.
This episode is brought to you by David's Bridal. The Edit by DB Studio was designed with your packed social calendar in mind. Find the trends you're looking for in this wildly affordable collection of wedding, bridesmaid, and occasion dresses, starting as low as $49.95. Join Diamond Loyalty to save 15% on your first purchase. Earn points towards special rewards and more at davidsbridal.com.
Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform or on the Love Stories TV YouTube channel. Follow at _pre_nup and at Love Stories TV on Instagram for more. Have feedback or suggestions for the next episode? Feel free to reach out to us at podcasts@lovestoriestv.com.